Hello, I'm Diane, a Bible teller. We are following the last 3 days of Jesus. The time has come for Jesus to die. Jesus, who had finished praying in Gethsemane, was caught by the people sent by the high priest. And they led Jesus away to the high priest, and with him were assembled all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes. And Peter followed him afar off, even into the palace of the high priest, and he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire. Jesus was taken to the home of the high priest. At that time, the high priest was Caiaphas. Caiaphas is the one who inherited the spot from Annas, his father-in-law. This is a picture of Annas and Caiaphas, but honestly, I cannot recognize who is who. Well, I think I'd believe even if someone says they are twins. Actually, Annas is the left and Caiaphas is the right. Caiaphas cooperated well with the Rome authorities and remained high priest for 18 years. Although it is not in the Gospel of Mark, it is said in the Gospel of John that Jesus was first taken to Annas and then to Caiaphas. From this, it seems that the real power of the religious world at that time was Annas. Later, all of Annas' 5 sons become high priests in turn. And the chief priests and all the council sought for witness against Jesus to put him to death, and found none. For many bare false witness against him, but their witness agreed not together. And there arose certain and bare false witness against him, saying, We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. In fact, this is not a false testimony. Jesus certainly said this. Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. This did not mean a building, but a prophecy of his resurrection. But no one knew what it meant. Somehow they tried to accuse Jesus, but there's no deserving charge. So Caiaphas steps out directly. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, Answerest thou nothing? What is it which this witness against thee? But he held his peace and answered nothing. Again the high priest asked him, and said unto him, Art thou the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? Christos is a Greek word for Messiah in Hebrew, and it became Christ when it was integrated in English. So Messiah, Christos, and Christ have all the same meaning. It means the Anointed One. And Jesus said, I am, and ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest rent his clothes, and saith, What need we any further witness? Ye have heard the blasphemy, what think ye? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. If you look at the artifices of this sin, Caiaphas is opening his chest. Tearing the top of the upper garment is an expression of sorrow for the Jews. However, this behavior of Caiaphas is more than a real emotion, but rather a show of gesture to show others, saying, This man called himself the Son of God. This is blasphemy, and I'm sad because my God has been insulted. And some began to spit on him, and to cover his face, and to buffet him, and to say unto him, Prophesy. And the servants did strike him with the palms of their hands. At that time Peter was in the Caiaphas' house. And as Peter was beneath in the palace, there comes one of the maids of the high priest. And when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked upon him and said, And thou also wast with Jesus of Nazareth? But he denied, saying, I know not, neither understand I what thou sayest. And he went out into the porch, and the cock crew. And a maid saw him again, and began to say to them that stood by, This is one of them. And he denied it again. And a little after, they that stood by said again to Peter, Surely thou art one of them, for thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreeth thereto. But he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man of whom ye speak. And the second time the cock crew. And Peter called to mind the word that Jesus said unto him, Before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when he thought thereon, he wept. Cried. The Bible expresses Peter's heart in one word, cry. Simple and clear verb that rejects other interpretations. The man who was called a solid rock by the Master collapsed like this, and the day is getting lighter. It was Diane, a Bible teller. Peace be with you.